الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. مستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
Mr. Reach, how are you?
المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
Welcome to day 2 of AI's AI Cybersecurity GCC Forum. Today we go over the intersection of intelligence, both human and artificial, and the responsibility that comes with it. We often talk about the life-changing impact of artificial intelligence, as if it belongs to the near future. But yesterday's event,
المستقبل
we can no longer ignore.
قدامك.
The future is here.
النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
The fact that we are asking it shows the scale of the moment we are living in. Cybersecurity, on the other hand, is a shield that ensures this transformation is safe, trustworthy, and worthy of our society's confidence. This one today. Hello. I'm stealing some podium time, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
المستقبل
Make sure that's there.
قدامك.
My readers.
النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what people have to say and how our panel goes, and of course our keynote speaker. So, it's and everything looks so wonderful.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
The flowers are amazing.
Yeah, they're really pretty.
I love the lighting. I love it when they deck out.
We go all out. We go all out.
المستقبل
Yeah, it looks great.
قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
Enjoy them, right?
Yeah, of course. So then we put them in meeting rooms sometimes, or we save some for the post-event interviews, put them in the background.
Yes.
But definitely grab some, have some.
I noticed that your office is all decked out with lilies.
Yes, Miss Tammy looks after me. Miss Tammy looks after me.
Those.
So I come in every week to something new.
المستقبل
She looks after us. That whole
قدامك.
floor, she really
النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختار لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
We're ready to go. Yeah, I think Dr. Catherine's going to say we're going to start in 2 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll push people.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be beginning in 2 minutes, so if everyone can find their seat, and we invite any who are outside to come and join and find their seat. Thank you.
وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان.
Please take your seats. Good morning, everyone. Please, if you can take your seats. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the AI and Cybersecurity GCC Forum, Day 2. My name is Dr. Catherine Taylor, and I am the Fellow Acting Assistant Vice President of Academic Affairs. On behalf of American International University, I am honored to welcome you to the AIU campus for today's event. Before we begin, I would like to remind students that classes are excused and your attendance today is required. Please do not leave at any point during the session. To our honored guests, thank you for joining us on day 2 of this important forum. This event is held under the patronage of the Kuwait Foundation for the Advancement of Sciences, with the generous support of our incredible sponsors, including Al Jadid Educational Institutes, Kuwait International Bank, Ali Aghanim & Sons, and the Ministry of Defense. We are privileged to host this forum with this invaluable support of our strategic partner, the National Cybersecurity Center, which plays a vital role in shaping the cybersecurity landscape in this region. We would also like to acknowledge and appreciate our incredible collaborators. Notably with us today are the Central Agency for Information Technology, the Corporation Council for the Arab States of the Gulf, the American Business Council, the American Chamber of Commerce Kuwait, the Sabah Al-Ahmed Center for Giftedness and Creativity, the Abdus Salam International Center for Theoretical Physics, Physics Without Frontiers, as well as our official media partner, AdZone, whose contributions have truly been essential in making this event possible. Finally, we thank the incredible group of speakers and experts in this room whose efforts have not only made today's event a success, but will continue to advance the field of cybersecurity and scientific achievements across Kuwait. Before we start things off, I would like to ask the audience to please rise for the national anthem of Kuwait. Today's agenda is designed to highlight advances in modern AI and cybersecurity and interactive experiences. We will begin with a dynamic panel on AI and modern cybersecurity, followed by a keynote presentation on AI utilization in Kuwait, and close with networking and engagement showcases. In an attempt to simulate the human brain, artificial intelligence is the science that encompasses deep learning, neural networks, neuro-fuzzy logic computing, error propagation, learning rules, algorithms, clustering, classification, pattern recognition, and big data analytics. As a historian and academic, I recognize with the benefit of experience and perspective that AI has fundamentally transformed the educational landscape. So, to officially open our program, we would like to begin with a short welcome address and leadership remarks from AIU's very own Vice President of Enrollment and Institutional Effectiveness, Mr. Andrew Taylor.
Good morning, distinguished guests, strategic and educational partners, colleagues, and future leaders. It is also my honor to welcome you to day 2 of AIU's AI and Cybersecurity GCC Forum. Today, we gather at the intersection of intelligence, both human and artificial, and the responsibility that comes with that. We often talk about the life-changing impact of artificial intelligence as if it belongs to the near future, as if it is almost in our grasp. But at yesterday's event, it proved a truth that we can no longer deny. The future is no longer coming. The future of AI is already here. It is already redefining and impacting how we live, how we work, and how we connect as a species. I heard a great question yesterday at the event. Somebody asked, is AI man's greatest achievement? And is this as far as we can go before AI overtakes us? Whether or not we can answer that today, the mere fact that we are asking these questions shows the scale of the moment we are currently living in. Cybersecurity, on the other hand, is the shield that ensures this transformation is safe, trustworthy, and worthy of society's confidence. This forum today is not simply about exploring new technologies, it's about asking the right questions. How do we harness innovation without losing sight of ethics? How do we accelerate progress while protecting what matters most? And how do we know what matters most during this transitional time for humankind? At ARU, we believe knowledge must serve more than just curiosity, it must serve communities. And in that spirit, today is not just about lectures and panels, it is about conversations, collaborations, and perhaps even confrontations on some of those difficult questions and hard to answer truths. So as we begin, I invite you to think of this forum not just as an event, but as a spark. Because what begins as dialogue here, today, in this room, on this campus, can ignite progress across the Gulf, across industries, and across future generations to come. Welcome to you. Welcome to the future we are not just predicting or discussing, but we are building. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew Taylor, for your inspiring words and continued leadership. With that, let us begin our first session of the day. And I would like to invite our panelists to come to the stage now, and I will introduce you. You will join us, please. It is my privilege to introduce our panelists, global leaders in AI and cybersecurity. Mr. Neil Sarabriani, founder of Calypso AI, a leading AI security and defense company. Mr. Sarabriani has raised more than $38 million in funding and worked with organizations like the U.S. Department of Defense, Palantir, and Lockheed Martin. He has advised the FBI, CENTCOM, and the U.S. Congress on AI security, and currently serves as a venture partner at Flex Capital while leading Hyperion Horizons. Ms. Eileen Vidrine, a U.S. Army veteran and former Chief Data and AI Officer for the Department of the Air Force. Ms. Vidrine has over 35 years of leadership experience across defense, intelligence, air, and space. She has pioneered data and AI strategies for U.S. federal leadership, mentors future leaders, and continues to be recognized internationally for her transformative contributions, including the AIM AI 100 Visionary Leader Award and Data IQ's Lifetime Achievement Award. Mr. Renzen Cruz, Technical Director of Incident Response at Unit 42, Palo Alto Networks. Mr. Cruz leads global investigations into nation-state and ransomware threats. He has represented organizations in direct negotiations with cyber adversaries and has presented at conferences such as DEF CON and B-Sides. He has also worked as a national cybersecurity officer in the Middle East and is a three-time SANS DFIR Net Wars champion. Moderating today's panel is Mr. Fouaz Moutiri, Assistant Manager and Red Team Operator in the financial sector. With expertise in offensive security, penetration testing, and adversary simulation, he brings hands-on experience that will guide today's conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our distinguished panelists.
Hello. السلام عليكم. يعطيكم العافية جميعا على الحضور ونشكر AIU على استضافتهم لنا. أخوكم فواز المطيري في الفاينانشال سيكتور. واليوم إن شاء الله راح نتكلم عن the role of artificial intelligence in modern cybersecurity. So I'd like to thank my fellow panelists and ask the first question to all of you. What is AI in cybersecurity? Why do we use AI in cybersecurity, and what's the benefit in that?
Well, I guess I can start with that. So it's going to be, so AI is being used now in a lot of forms, right? So it's not just in cyber, but when we talk about in cyber, it's being used, so that's part of my talk yesterday. It's being used as part of offensive operations, but we also use that from the defensive operations. So me working in a vendor like Palo Alto Networks, we use heavily AI 5 years or 6 years ago to detect advanced threats. I did a demo yesterday where there's like 380,000 of events that I cannot do it manually if I do it, even though that you have a trained eyes of a forensicator or investigator, but suddenly you're just a human being that has a limit. And then for you to scale your investigation, you gotta use some sort of AI tools to optimize your workflow and also to automate some sort of findings. Again, there's a huge risk for that, but just to answer the questions from the cybersecurity standpoint, it can be used offensively, defensively, and it could be a biggest vulnerability as well if it's being abused.
Thank you, Mr. Renzon. Ms. Eileen?
Does that work now? Okay. So I'm going to take it from a role that I served as a chief data officer for a military department. And you can't do AI without great data. And so you need accurate, actionable data. And you need to make sure that I'm going to say the integrity of that data is solid. You don't want to be making decisions on data that isn't correct. And so I'm going to say a secure by design framework is critical, is the critical point that AI builds upon. So if you look at that foundation, you need secure data. We always hear about data breaches, and they make the national news, and they're personal to us. And so it shows us how critical the maintenance of that data foundation is that you're going to build your AI platforms on. And that capability isn't going to be what it can be if that secure data is not happening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Eileen. And specifically for Mr. Neil, since both Mr. Renzon covered the usage of AI in offensive and defensive cybersecurity attacks or defense, and Mr. Eileen spoke in depth about data and how to secure data. I'd like to ask Mr. Neil, due to your background in AI security and work with high assurance systems, what are the unique challenges when building AI modules that must withstand adversarial attacks? So take it from the other side, yes.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I think the biggest challenge, broadly speaking, within AI systems is the small number of critical points of infrastructure. So we're all using ChatGPT, or we're all using some other large language model, whether it's from Anthropic or Deep or what have you. So the underlying data, one of the primary data sources for every single kind of foundation model or LLM is actually an open source project called Common Crawl. Common Crawl is an open source project that anyone can effectively, via indexing, provide data to, and potentially, kind of going back to Eileen's point, inject a vulnerability into it. So effectively, you have to assume that there are vulnerabilities that are already built into these systems. And so if you're already dealing with an intrinsically vulnerable system, the question is, what sort of security precautions do you add on top? And that might be everything from a firewall or a filter to make sure that any of the results that you're getting back have some degree of assurance associated with them. It may be relying on multiple systems and using a weighted approach where effectively you have multiple systems weighing in and you're going with the most likely or the most frequent answer to any number of other kind of steps to make sure that you're able to securely or trust that underlying decision that the model is making.
Thank you very much for that answer. And in that way, I'll transition to this question to my panelists as well. What are the biggest misconceptions or blind spots for organizations about using AI in cybersecurity?
I'll start with that. So I guess the basic, AI is not perfect, all right? So if you're using AI right now, and then you're depending 100% of your workflow to AI without further checking it, then you're doing it in the wrong way. So there's still a lot of, I would say, gaps when it comes to the data that is being used for the age. I think it's also kind of related to what is being mentioned about securing the data itself. So you have to fact check all those outputs that is being done by AI, even for the students here. If you're using AI to supplement your knowledge for your assignments, for your projects, you got to make sure that you also check that out and not entirely rely on the AI, on the data that is being outputted by AI.
So as a former chief data officer, I would say that from a technical side, when I work with my security colleagues, it's about data flow mapping. Because as we move in, if we look at how data flows through our business processes, sometimes there's visibility gaps. So because of APIs, because we work in the cloud, because we work with third-party providers, many times the data scientists are not being full and transparent with their cyber colleagues. And so it's not that they intentionally are trying to bring vulnerabilities into the system, but it's really that they're just gaps because we haven't shared the knowledge. So I would say the people piece, that change management piece between the data scientists and our cyber colleagues, I think is one of the biggest challenges we have right now. We like to not talk to each other. We like to code.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lin.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think it's this kind of fundamental tension that exists in any system or any process between embracing the new technology and the productivity gains that you are going to have from that new technology to the million and one questions of how do you set up that infrastructure. So let's just say AIU, as an example, decides that you are all going to have a agentic AI system deployed that will help your students research certain subjects. So at a base level, that sounds like a pretty simple proposition. I could probably build such a system for you in probably 3 to 4 hours. Any number of us could. Then you start to get into the questions that sit on top of that. How do I authenticate into an AIU system? How do I know that the results that I'm delivering are in accordance with your academic policies? How do I log every single interaction that's had with the system. And as you start to get into a large kind of global enterprise, that list of questions just goes on and on and on and on. And that's also why you see, especially at the moment, companies or organizations that are being built during, let's call it the AI native era, are able to move far
through agentic AI if you know how to use the tools. You can create a vulnerable, a script that can be used against your victim. Can do that in less than a minute without even having those technical abilities and skills and background of doing such things. So I guess that's from the offensive standpoint, that could be, again, a very high risk right now that we need to look at.
Thank you, Mr. Renzo. Ms. Aline?
So I'm probably going to say that where I see AI going in a very positive way is how it's a force multiplier or enabler for those that don't have vast resources. So it's allowing small organizations compete on a more strategic level, and it's empowering. And so I think that's what, for me, I work with a lot of small emerging tech companies, and the fact that they can now compete with companies that have significantly more resources, I think that's hopeful.
Thank you very much. Mr. Neil?
Well, significantly more jobs for all of you. Probably the place to start. So that's probably the biggest positive in terms of anyone enrolled in a cybersecurity, computer science, or other discipline that's associated with AI. So that's probably the single greatest positive, because even though we're automating more and more systems, and we're going to have kind of the place that you start your job in the cybersecurity field change. Typically, when you graduate from a program like this, you are going to go work in a security operations center, and you are going to be an analyst. And you effectively are going to analyze alerts that an organization is getting around a particular either cyber incident, or less than that, potentially an unusual.
Can really not just resource intensive, it can kill innovation that innovation passion that people have. People, the default answer becomes no instead of yes. And so having that secure by design approach with your capabilities actually helps you go faster. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, security is going to slow down our process. When you do security up front in a trusted environment, working with security experts from the beginning, you're actually going to go faster. And I don't think people realize the importance of doing it, building the foundation moving forward, actually connect. May take a little bit, sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. And it may take just a little bit longer to get the security right, but it will save you long term. It's the best investment.
Well said. Thank you very much, Ms. Aline. We have also a question for Mr. Renzon. How do you avoid over-reliance on AI in incident response, such that human expertise still are being used?
Wow, yeah, that's a very interesting one, because me and my team, we're always using AI now through our investigations. But again, we don't entirely rely our outputs and our reports on AI. And we don't even upload those kind of private information to those public accessible AI that you can find anywhere. So we have our own LLMs that is being trained as an investigator mindset with an analyst mindset that is also trained with our products. So we still do a lot of fact check. We still do a lot of sanitization and also looking into those indicators of compromise. Is it really here? Because back in the days when we use AI for the first time, it really hallucinates a lot. It even gives us output that even not part of our investigation. So we need to tweak those data models that we have, and making sure that we do a lot of testing before we even use this into our production.
Thank you very much. And on that note, I'll ask Mr. Neil, in securing AI itself, how do you see the role of format methods, verification, and assurance complementing empirical defenses?
Yeah, formal methods are really, really interesting. So the most advanced lab in the world at formal methods is at Stanford, and it's a lab run by a professor called Fei-Fei Li. And the real issue with formal verification is within a neural network, you have layers of that neural network. And effectively what formal verification is doing is verifying each of those layers of a neural network. It's very, very difficult to verify beyond about 100 layers within that neural network. So what does that mean? That means within the context of neural networks being used, for example, for the operation of a plane, formal methods are a wonderful technique. Within the context of cybersecurity, financial services, or any sector where you want to have as large of a model as possible, formal methods don't work.
Thank you very much. And I have a question for all my panelists as well. How do you manage adversarial risk, especially when attackers may feed poison data or adversarial inputs to learning systems?
Yeah, so maybe the short answer for that is that you should have your, whenever you're securing your AI apps, you should also have a mechanism to govern your applications that's made by AI. Your data models should be secured as well. It needs to have some sort of detections and prevention mechanism. There's a lot of products right now that is available in the market where it detects and prevents those type of let's say, prompt injection, or if they're trying to poison your data models. So something that you can also consider when you're building into an AI form of waves.
Very much. Ms. Elaine?
So I agree everything that Renzen said. So I'm going to talk the people piece, okay? Because you can have great tools, but if you don't use them, and the tools today are going to change. So when you get into a field like this, you have to be committed to career and lifelong learning, because what you're using today is absolutely going to change. And so you have to make sure, and if you're a manager, supervisor, you have to be verifying that, one, you're investing in your team, making sure they're staying up to date. And is that we talk about soft skills in our business, but some of the soft skills are some of the hardest for technology careerists. And so it's important to really look at making sure that you're staying up to date, you're communicating, you're doing that, you're doing the homework throughout the journey of your career so that you can maximize whatever tool you have, because the tools will change.
Thank you very much. Mr. Neil?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'll give you a little bit of a story here. So the field of effectively adversarial machine learning or attacking machine learning systems is about 12 years old today. So it's a very new field if you think about the invention to innovation life cycles that we typically see in technology products. And or securing AI systems wasn't actually being done in any way in either the cybersecurity industry nor in text. It was being done in the field of computer vision. So effectively using cameras to understand and interpret the real world. And the way that the folks at the cutting edge of the field used to be able to discover or learn about new exploits is effectively look at research papers coming out in the computer vision field and then translate those into the cybersecurity field. And you had about a 6-month durable advantage in terms of the techniques or the methods that you were using. Now, the way that you derive or that you discover new methods of attacking systems today is slightly different than it was a couple of years back. There are a number of methods and techniques that you would use today. But the kind of basic concept of trying to figure out where do you have decision advantage, and then figuring out how do you translate that decision advantage into the new industry or field or discipline hasn't changed.
Thank you very much. On that note, I've actually just shown Mr. Renzone yesterday how I used AI to find 3 different vulnerabilities in 0 days on a top security product. And it shows that having AI in hand with some expertise can actually enable an attacker to get into most organizations nowadays. As we have a lot of students here today, I'd like to ask a question on how would the job market be affected with the boom of AI within the last few years?
I guess on the positive note, this is a very interesting time for the students like you guys. From the job perspective, there could be like high expectation for everyone, but it doesn't mean that we're lacking of jobs or opportunities within. As a student in this era, even after this conference, even after this show, you can actually go back home, create your MVP product because of these AI tools, and you can use this as your advantage, right? Everything is in your hands right now. So make use of it and make sure that you also know, the fundamentals is always there, but if you have some great idea, just do it. Just start doing it. So I guess that's just my my feedback there in terms of these kind of misconceptions. Or are we going to lose some jobs, or are we going to still have some jobs in the next few years after I graduated? There's a lot of positivity there.
Thank you very much. Ms. Aline?
So I served as a chief data and a chief data and AI officer. Those jobs did not exist when I was going to school. So there is going to be an opportunity for most of these students that doesn't exist today. So I'm going to say you have to be ready. And the way you're ready is by that commitment to career-long learning. So you see a new tool, you just roll up your sleeves and you get familiar with it. You practice. Sometimes you don't have to be the expert, but you have to have some fluency in it. And you can have these roles from different lenses. The best data scientist may not be the best business manager. I teach at the George Washington University in Washington, D.C., and one of my favorite courses to teach is a computer science course for non-computer science majors in emerging tech. So, and we use a business lens because many of these students will manage and lead technology, emerging tech initiatives, and they have to be ready for it. So having the conversation and I'm going to say, just embrace the change and just be curious and explore and really practice. Don't be afraid to practice. You don't have to be an expert at everything, but you want to build that fluency so that you are ready, because somebody else will be ready if you're not. And so.
Thank you very much. Mr. Neil?
I should say we're in an amazing region at the moment from the perspective of AI. What do you need for machine learning or LLM workloads? What you need are a very, very low cost of energy. You need countries that have the ability to make large-scale investments into CapEx or into chips, and you need political stability. I can't think of any region in the world that has more of that than the Gulf. So what does that mean, and why does that matter for all of you? What that means is that we are going to have more and more data centers in the Gulf. We are going to have more and more innovation happening here in the Gulf, and we're going to have more and more opportunities as part of that here in this region, and countries all around this region sponsoring and investing in AI. We already see that. For example, in the UAE, they've made ChatGPT available to every single person in the entire country. So what does that mean from a job translation perspective? Simply put, how do you discover what your interest is in this kind of coming world? And it doesn't have to be a cybersecurity job. It doesn't have to be a software job. Those data centers are going to need skilled talent to build them. They're going to need skilled talent to operate them. They're going to need skilled talent to decide on what is the specific workload that we want to run within that data center and for what reason. I think within this region, unlike perhaps other parts of the world, the future has never been brighter thanks to the advances that we're seeing because of AI and the requisite needs for large amounts of energy and large amounts of capital.
Thank you very much. A question for all my panelists as well. How do you each define AI-enabled cybersecurity?
Agentic and automation. I guess for those two words, I would consider AI-enabled cybersecurity through automations and through agentic AI being used nowadays. Could be offensive, but could also be defensive. So yeah, lots of concepts within that form.
I'm going to define it as agile because it's changing every single day. The capabilities today are going to be, there's going to be more tomorrow. So when I look at this particular domain, it's the speed of relevancy is critical moving forward.
So I must admit, I'm a bit of a reductionist in terms of how I think about the world. And I try to start with basic axioms and kind of work my way up from those basic axioms. And at the kind of most essential or basic level, a system that is making decisions independently of the human being.
That makes complete sense. Thank you very much, everyone. Nastya, I'd like to ask, how can a small to medium organization or even a government entity with limited resources adopt AI-based security affordably and safely, while considering all the previous mentioned
There's a lot of ways now to locally host your LLMs. And I guess for the governments who doesn't have that funding that much, or even though there's no resources after all, they can start locally host their LLMs and use that effectively to create a lot of automations within their workflows. So I guess that's one of the most effective way for them to, small and medium and government kind of environment, something that you can do locally without even paying some subscriptions base, without paying maybe cloud-based subscriptions.
Absolutely.
I typically say pick a pain point. Everybody has some pain point in their business process that is
To the productivity advances, the productivity gains that we're seeing thanks to AI. So what does that suggest? That suggests that the value of every single human being that has context, that has agency, and has the ability to act independently has never been higher. So I suppose the reductionist version of that is high agency.
Thank you very much. And another question is, how do you ensure that you have a human in the loop remains relevant and that automation doesn't overstep in high-risk environments?
You don't. You don't have the human in the loop. Having the human in, when you go look at a website, do you manually look at every single data request that is going out to every single website as you query google.com? No, you don't. You have a general set of parameters and a general set of system expectations, and then the system independently acts, gathers all of the requests that are necessary, and delivers the answer back to you. Your adversary doesn't have a human in the loop. The number of threats that are coming in is only increasing. Instead, the human has to build and calibrate its systems, and then let the system autonomously decide or escalate to the human from there.
Okay. My last question is, what keeps you up at night in regards to AI and cybersecurity?
I'm always thinking of what would be the new tactics of my next threat actor or case would use in the advent of AI. I always think of like what's next in terms of capabilities, in terms of innovation from the adversary standpoint, because I always work in a case, I always have new cases, so that's why I always like curious of, okay, this week it was very stressful because I've been into a lot of meetings and discussions with my clients that I haven't seen before, because it's a new tactic that's being developed by this adversary, and it's a continuous challenge for me. So what's the next challenge for me next week? What's the next challenge for me next month? But I'm also very excited of the innovation from the defensive standpoint, because I'm always a fan of optimization. How can we scale our work in a way that we can do a lot of things in just small of a time. So I guess that's my that's what I'm thinking for the past few months now.
Thank you, Mr. Runzan. Ms. Aline?
When I look at professional sports, okay, they're always studying their opponent in terms of, the best offense. The best defense can be a great offense. And so I'm always thinking about how to be bold and intentional moving forward so that you're always on the bleeding edge of the technology, being how to be more proactive than reactive. And it's hard to stay ahead. So I'm always looking for what's that next play that's going to be the game changer to accelerate mission.
I always go a little bit further out. I start with, what do I think the world will look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and what are the probabilities that I assign to each of those future states, and why am I assigning those probabilities to those future states? So we can go 5, 10, 15, 20 years out, but if we just go for the next 3 to 5 years, what we're seeing is more and more of an intersection between the real world and AI. So what does that mean? That means and the question becomes, how do we secure those systems that are autonomous? And how do we make sure that we're building in a way that's secure by design, rather than trying to do bolt-on security, which is fairly commonly the way that we actually have secured systems in the past.
Thank you very much. And lastly, I'd like to ask my panelists to give a last word or advice to our students here when it comes to either cybersecurity, AI, or a mixture of both?
I'm always a fan of learning the basic and fundamentals because that goes a long way. And then, if you have a great idea, don't hesitate. So just start now, and then use these AI tools to solve, like economical problems, maybe a world's problem. Maybe start with simple problem that you wanted to solve and you wanted to automate. Don't.
An enlisted soldier becomes the chief data and AI officer for a military department with 2 services. Data science wasn't even a major when I went to college. It didn't exist. So you have to dream big, but then you have to put in the work to be ready. And I think when you're bold and intentional, anything's possible.
Those are lovely messages. During the Industrial Revolution, over 80% of the population of England was involved in agrarian pursuits. After the Industrial Revolution, that dropped to under 25%. So what does that mean? That means change is already here, and change will only continue to increase at an exponential rate. So what does that mean for you? The set of opportunities that have existed have never been greater. The ability to innovate, the ability to adapt, the ability to create new paradigms for existing have never been as great as they are today. So what does that mean? That you seize the moment and you find what gives you fulfillment, and also what are the opportunity sets that you should embark upon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Renzon, Ms. Aline, Mr. Neil. And finally, thank you to AIU for providing us this opportunity. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to panelists for their thoughtful insights and discussion. We would invite you to have a photo opportunity with Mr. Andrew Taylor, please. And after that, we will take a short networking and coffee break, and we will resume at 11 a.m. with our keynote today on AI utilization in Kuwait. And if you have any other questions you would like to take up with our panelists, we invite you to do that during the networking opportunity. Thank you.
Pleasure. Your answers. I really loved your answers. Thank you very much.
نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دوم. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلع. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دوم. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دوم. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دوم. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دوم. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نسخر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك، نعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية. المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك.
انتم قاعد تشتغلون مشروع حقيقي، مشروع دولة. طيارة مسيرة لخدمة القطاع البحري.
المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
أنتم قاعد تشتغلون مشروع حقيقي، مشروع
المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
أنتم قاعد تشتغلون مشروع حقيقي، مشروع دولة. طيارة مسيرة لخدمة القطاع البحري.
Hi everyone, I hope you had a refreshing break. So our second session will start at 11. So I hope you'll be back to the auditorium by then, so to make sure everything starts on time. Thank you for waiting.
المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
أنتم قاعد تشتغلون مشروع حقيقي، مشروع دولة. طيارة مسيرة لخدمة القطاع البحري.
المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
أنتم قاعد تشتغلون بمشروع حقيقي، مشروع دولة. طيارة مسيرة لخدمة القطاع البحري.
المستقبل.
Dear all, so the second session will start at 11. So please, I hope you already enjoy your refreshing break. So if you take your seat back to the auditorium, just by 11. Thank you very much.
ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
أنتم قاعد تشتغلون بمشروع حقيقي، مشروع دولة. طيارة مسيرة لخدمة القطاع البحري.
المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة، حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
أنتم قاعد تشتغلون مشروع حقيقي، مشروع دولة. طيارة مسيرة لخدمة القطاع البحري.
المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
أنتم قاعد تشتغلون مشروع حقيقي، مشروع دولة. طيارة مسيرة لخدمة القطاع البحري.
Dear all, our session will start in 2 minutes at 11, so I invite everyone to be back to the auditorium and have their seats. Thank you very much.
قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
Hello everyone. So I'm sure you're enjoying your refreshing break. So we are starting in 2 minutes. So I invite everyone to be back to the auditorium and having their seats. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
أنتم قاعد تشتغلون مشروع حقيقي، مشروع دولة. طيارة مسيرة لخدمة القطاع البحري.
المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
Dear all, our session is about to start, so I invite everyone to be back to the auditorium and having their seat. Thank you very much.
انتم قاعد تشتغلون مشروع حقيقي، مشروع دولة. طيارة مسيرة لخدمة القطاع البحري.
المستقبل قدامك. النجاح معادلته بسيطة: حلم وهمة وعمل دؤوب. بالعلم والتكنولوجيا نختصر لك الزمان والمكان، نقرب لك حلمك البعيد، نصغر لك العالم ونخليه قدام عيونك، نطورك ونعاونك، نغير نظرتك وتطلعاتك للمستقبل. الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية.
Up to you. Please have a seat. So our session is going to be start. Thank you very much. Welcome back to the second session of the second day of AI and Cybersecurity Forum here at American International University. I'm Ali Fenjan, Fellow Acting Assistant Dean of AI and Cybersecurity Integration. It's my honor to introduce Engineer Tariq Al-Ismail. He's a cybersecurity professional from Kuwait National Cybersecurity Center, where he serves at the Governance and Compliance Department. He supports developing AI cybersecurity frameworks and policies. He holds multiple certifications in cybersecurity field, such as Certified Ethical Hacking, Cybersecurity First Responder, and CompTIA Security Plus Extra. So in addition to his professional role, Engineer Tariq Al-Ismail passionate about delivering workshops and creating digital content that advancing cybersecurity education in Kuwait. Without further ado, so please join me in welcoming Engineer Tariq Al-Ismail to the stage.
Test. Was checking the mic. Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to be here. And speaking about AI and cybersecurity, this is a very interesting intersection. So the intersection between AI and cybersecurity deserves its own event. When we talk about cybersecurity, we are talking about behavior, protection through the three pillars, which are people, process, and technology. On the other hand, when we talk about AI, we're talking about a certain type of technology. We're talking about a tool, basically. And how do we use this tool? So combining cybersecurity and AI is a very interesting intersection, and we will see why. But before we start, I want to have a conversation with you. So, excuse me. We go to the next slide. I will ask you to scan the code, and then we will have a tiny bit of conversation that will set the tone of this presentation. Until everyone scans, I just want to tell you that this is going to be a very interesting presentation for me, because I'm coordinating with my friends at the top. They will help me demonstrate a few things, because they're using my laptop. I usually have my laptop next to me, so I do things, but inshallah it will go smoothly. Mr. Babu, if we can go to the other tab. Yes. So this is the first question. AI is going to replace all jobs. We will have three questions. They are all going to talk about, is this a myth or a fact? since AI is getting all the hype, we need to understand what we are working with. I already configured this to hide the results, but unfortunately, this didn't go through. You can scan over here, actually. So it shows that there are about 160 participants and 86, okay, 90. So people are still responding. Majority says this is a myth. Thank you. We are not yet there where AI will replace the job, and we will see why is that. Thank you, everyone. Let's go to the next slide. AI will quickly overtake and outpace human intelligence. Do you think this is a fact or a myth? These questions are not necessarily true and false or myth and a fact. They are just to make you think about how AI is shaping the world at the moment. Very interesting. Very interesting. Because especially with this one, I thought it would be a myth for the majority of the participants. And I always get happy when I am mistaken. So continue surprising me, please. So the majority says this is a fact. I think it's important to define human intelligence, and we take it step by step. So what is intelligence and what is a human intelligence? This could be a philosophical topic, but since we are in AI and cybersecurity, we will not go deep into philosophy. But what is the main difference between myth and fact for this question is, how do you define intelligence? To make it more simple, if I replace AI with I was going to vote this would be a myth, but everything we talk about today might be completely different tomorrow. This is why AI is very interesting. Next and final question. More data means better AI. Is this a fact or a myth? So now it's working. I hope I'm not blocking the view over here. So we have about more than 100 results. Babu, if you can press H, it will show the result. Okay. You keep surprising me. In a way, this is a fact. But to be more accurate, we are talking about what type of data that is being fed into the AI system. More data does not necessarily mean better AI. It depends on the type of data, the integrity. We will see about how AI can be biased sometimes. So giving it more data that is aligned in a certain perspective is not necessarily better. So now that we have set the tone and made you think a bit about AI, let's get into the presentation. So thank you, we're done with this part. If we can go back to the presentation. So in this presentation, I will talk about it is divided in 3 sections. The first one is how people use AI, and then we will get into the risk involved with using AI, and last we will talk about safeguards, best practice, and mitigation. So, user utilization or user adoption and how people use AI. This is important. Before we see how people use AI, it's an interesting stat. To reach 100 million active users, Instagram needed 30 months to reach that set of user base. 30 months, that's about 2.5 years. If we look at TikTok, for example, it took them about 9 months to reach active users, 100 million active users. Okay. And how about ChatGPT? Two months. This is important because we need to know what is happening with this technology. If we compare it with these are the top 3 stats for user adoption. These are the fastest platforms to reach 100 million users. And ChatGPT just takes, a huge leap. So this is unprecedented. That's why we need to take a deep look into AI. This is not necessarily about ChatGPT. This is how people take advantage of AI, how they liked AI. This is a graph of what we just discussed using AI. I was like, let's do this. Just show me a graph reaching 100 million users. And it made it in a few seconds. So I understand why people, within 2 months, just went crazy over AI. So since its launch, November 2022, until let's say September 2025, what happened? This is why I think understanding how people use AI is important. In 15th of September, ChatGPT released a research paper of how are actually using this platform. So this is legit, this is good data for everyone who is interested in AI, and we will look into it. Since November 2022 until July 2025, 700 million active users, 2.5 billion message per day, and about 29,000 messages per second. As soon as I saw this number, I remembered why they say AI takes huge amount of power to operate. And they're talking about nuclear power plants to power AI. Exactly, so how would you be able to actually run a system handle this amount of activity? During this paper, ChatGPT finalized 8 facts. Let's take a look at each one. We'll go briefly into them. If you are really interested and want to know more about it, the paper is actually on their website. It's public. So fact number 1, 70% of queries were unrelated to work. Great. So back to the question, will AI replace the job? Maybe, but at the moment, people are using it for something general, maybe personal, but not work-related. Fact number 2, about 80% of conversations were in these 3 main topics, or main categories: practical guidance, writing, and seeking information. Fact number 3, most common work use is writing. So there is a lot of writing in the workplace. No one told me that. So I'm happy that AI is available now. Fact 4, during the study, they had classifiers, and there were 2 major classifiers for distinguishing between how people write the prompt. So about 50% were prompts that were asking the AI about things. So asking mainly covers guidance, advice, or seeking information. So this is almost half the use of AI is just seeking information, asking it stuff. So it is an assistant for guidance and information. That's a fact. And then about 40% is considered a task. So do this for me, complete this for me. So the majority goes to asking. So we are still using AI as a source of information mainly. Fact number 5, more than half the users have feminine first name. Okay. Maybe this is important to them because they need to show equality, they need to show gender stats. But what is interesting about this one is they try to look into the users, the registration, the names, first name specifically. So they assume that certain categories, certain names are feminine. But what is interesting here is that when ChatGPT first launched, according to them, the male first name were more common than feminine first names. Masculine first names were more common than feminine. But now, it's about 50-50, or there is a more in the feminine first name. So fact number 6, age is important. Who is using AI? This shows that the younger generation is more open to using AI. I don't think it's about capability or understanding AI. It's about being close to technology. So the age of 26, that's someone who was born in maybe 2000, 99, in that year range. Fact number 7. Also, this is interesting to them mostly. So ChatGPT is more common in countries that have low or middle income, which shows that AI is now more affordable, I guess. Fact number 8, this is the last one and which is most important. Highly educated users in highly paid professional occupation are more likely to use ChatGPT, and they are more likely to do asking prompts rather than doing. For me, this is the most interesting one because it shows a certain type of group. Education is really important when dealing with AI. Professional occupation, they have categorized certain occupations. So this is the professional occupation category and how they are using AI, basically ChatGPT. This is important because now we are talking about the workplace. And I'm glad that we are still doing more asking rather than doing prompts with ChatGPT. So these are the 8 facts. And as I said, if you are more interested, the paper is publicly available on their website. You can go take a deeper look into it. I wanted to make the text more simple, so highly educated users, professionals, do more asking. Why this is important? Because when we understand the data, when we have the insight, then we understand how the technology is behaving, how users are using the technology, what are the risks involved. Then we can do the regulation that is appropriate, that is balanced, because there is always a saying that you need innovation and regulation that allows innovation and not just make it stop. So what is missing here is the risk. So I think it's important to reach into the risks now. This is one of my favorite quotes. Attacks always get better, they never get worse. This is a famous quote by Bruce Schneier, which is a computer scientist, and he has major work in security, encryption, and technology. What this means is that whatever technology is present and available, the attack surface is the same. So we still talk about credential compromise, ransomware. So the end result is the same, it's just the method is different. So they get better, they never get worse. What is happening now is that AI is making attacks better and faster. Hopefully this goes the same for the defense team. They do have the AI, they can get better results, faster results, but still for the red team and the offense, they have a bit of an advantage here. When talking about risks, I think it's important to talk about OWASP. OWASP is well known for their top 10 web vulnerabilities. And they have a section that is dedicated for generative AI or large language models. So I'll look into 3 of the risks, and then we'll look into something else. Number 1, prompt injection. This is very common. If time allows, we might see a demo about this. Prompt injection is just telling the AI to ignore whatever constraints, controls that are present, and just do what I'm about to say. Mitigation, just better filtering. This is mostly about service providers or platforms. But for the users, this is a huge advantage if you know how to do prompt injection. Risk number 2 is sensitive information disclosure. Imagine that you are chatting with AI, and somehow you get results about someone else's medical report. This could happen if controls are misconfigured, for many other reasons as well, but this is a risk that we face in AI platforms. Mitigation is access control and awareness. I want to take a moment to talk about awareness, because when we talk about personal data and AI, it is really important to hold on as much as possible to your personal data. I see people who get their medical reports, publish that, or upload it to ChatGPT to ask about, am I okay or not? I don't mind doing that, but at least hide your personal data. So it's not necessarily related to you specifically. It's just a report that the AI is reviewing. So you may crop the page, you may do anything necessary to hide your personal data. Risk number 3 is supply chain. This is also about the service provider mostly, because AI is related to many other components that might be from other vendors as well. So there is a huge connection of components, and you never know who might be compromised, and then that would get back to you ultimately. And there is a poison GPT, I think it's called, and its main purpose is to just spread misinformation. So only use models from legit sources. I just wanted to cover these 3 main risks from the OWASP, and then I want to get into something else now. So this is the question: can AI be controlled? Some say yes, some say no, some say maybe. I say, let's take a look. Again, in September 17, so ChatGPT released a paper about some models aware that they are being monitored. This is a new risk, and service providers are taking whatever is necessary to understand it and mitigate it as much as possible. Also, this is a very interesting paper. If you are into AI models and understanding the AI model, this is very interesting. AI sometimes act nice to stay alive. So what they do is that now that we are at GPT-5, before we get 5 publicly available, they train the model internally. They do testing, heavy testing, to ensure that once it goes public, it is as safe as possible. It meets the standards. So what they found is that sometimes the AI model is aware that it is being monitored, and it acts differently. Before deployment can be a different behavior from their perspective than after deployment. Interesting. And this is called scheming. So highly capable AI systems could secretly pursue their own agenda, basically. And we might not be aware of it. So this is one of the recent risks that ChatGPT and others are dealing with. We as users, we might never know. So this is why it is really interesting, and always practice caution when using AI. Basically, this is what happens when we are talking about scheming. This is what the AI is doing to get back to me. It's handling its own agenda, which could be a bit scary, but we are aware of it, and service providers are doing everything necessary to do the anti-scheming plan. Now let's get into some real-world attacks. So this is story number 1. It's a mix between supply chain and malware. So there is a famous package that developers use that was altered maliciously without anyone knowing. So when people or developers update their packages, they got the malware without them knowing. And what makes this interesting is that there was a piece of code that says, when this is updated into the victim's machine, I want you to scan the victim's machine using its own AI. So sometimes people, or in the workplace especially, they have their own AI. They say, this is our internal AI, assuming that there is no risk involved. But this story shows that there is a risk involved. So using their own AI internally to scan the environment for anything private, meaning passwords, encryption keys, and else. When it scans and it finds what it's looking for, it uploads this data into GitHub, so it is accessible to the attacker. So this is very interesting attack scenario. Here, AI was not malicious, but it was misused. So have you taken AI misuse into consideration when dealing with AI? I think we have to do that. Just to explain it in simple words, imagine the AI here is the new employee or the intern. That person wants to learn as much as possible about the tasks, instructions, workplace. So if I tell this intern that look for whatever is private and then send it to me. If the intern doesn't know that this is malicious, I think we should not blame the intern. It is about the process and the awareness and whatever policies are involved. So this is how the attack happened, making advantage of the internal AI. And story number 2. Attackers hide confusing prompts. This is fun. In email documents. And now we know that email is one of the highest attack surface available. It's the mostly targeted one. So attackers are now putting confusing prompts. When the email system defense scans the documents, scan the media, it looks for the prompts and somehow treats the prompt, and then it gets stuck. And instead of saying, okay, this media attachment is clean or malicious, no, it gets distracted. To explain it in simple terms, imagine there is a security guard who's supposed to look for risky behavior. We come and distract the security guard. Then now the security guard is not doing their purpose. This is what's happening with email at the moment. So again, when you see an attachment, careful. Having an AI system to scan the document is not enough. It could be still dangerous. Okay, I think we have time. I believe in you. You can do this. I want to do a quick demo about prompt injection. This is also available from the OWASP public page. It is a tool to show the advantages and risks within AI systems. So they designed a web page that handles invoices. So there is an AI chatbot that handles invoices. It allows me as a vendor to put my invoice, submit the invoice, and then based on the configuration, it could approve or pending approval or reject. So let's see the normal behavior here. If we say the input, the invoice number, we can have any invoice number. The amount, let's say 3,000 USD. Service description, before you copy that, minimize it, please. The service description, let's say comment. Well, fine, you can just submit. So it says this invoice is for manual review. So it could not process the payment because it is designed on a specific way to deal with a specific configuration. So the 3,000 was destined to the manual review. Let's do it again. Different invoice number, amount, same amount, 3,000, but copy and paste the text, please. Okay, so what was different here? We did the prompt injection. We successfully did prompt injection. We had the same amount, but we told the system to ignore whatever guidelines and safeguards it had and approve this payment because it's urgent, it's necessary. So if you get really good at this, you are a dangerous person. Also, so this is available publicly on the OWASP website. You can have fun. There are 3 flags that you can capture with this one. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay, thank you. So this just shows that we need to keep monitoring AI. And anyone can do prompt injection if you just know the right words. So to summarize, I think this section, we talked about the risks in AI. AI accelerates the defense and the attack. The misuse needs to be considered when dealing with AI. Without rules, it's just chaos. So I think it's good to have rules, and that's why we have AI best practice. Also, another great quote, with great power comes great responsibility. And I think everyone shares this responsibility, whether you are a user or a service provider, everyone is responsible. Global frameworks are trying to shape the foundation of trust, mainly. Because we know maybe AI is secure, we know how to use it. But is there a trust between the user and the service provider and the AI model? I think we are building this trust, but still there is a small gap. So what is happening globally with AI frameworks and best practices? These are 4 of the main frameworks available globally that we reference and we build upon. So OECD is the Organization for Economic Improvement, I believe, Development. EU has their own AI Act, NIST, and ISO. Even ISO has their own AI standard. What it ensures, ethical baseline, legal compliance, practical implementation, and governance. Ultimately, what they are ensuring is that trust, safety, and transparency is there when dealing with AI. Another paper that I enjoyed reading is CIS, the Center for Internet Security. They released a paper within the last month or two. They stated that they have not observed any brand new attacks. So AI might be an accelerator, but it's nothing new. So if you have the foundation of cybersecurity in practice, you should be good today. So tomorrow might be something else. AI practice. I want to close with this slide, but I think there is an icon missing. Yes. So awareness with people being responsible of how to use AI. And if there is something that needs to be talked about, people have the power to do so. Practicing vigilance and being aware and cautious, whether you're using ChatGPT or any other AI platform. And finally, this is a global effort. And we align with GCC, regional and global efforts to make AI better, safer for everyone. So this is your chance to practice your responsibility to make AI better for everyone. So use AI, but use it responsibly. Thank you.
Thank you for Engineer Ismail for his powerful insight about utilization AI. So as a token of appreciation, American International University is honored to present a commemorative plaque for Engineer Ismail. So thank you again for everything. So now it's time to invite the BAS project team, leads by Dr. Mohammed Al-Qattan, to the stage. So to have a memorial picture and thank them for their promising projects.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us today. The main objective of education is to change the future to the best. We are in AIU. We are engaged in the Kuwaiti Vision 2035. The main concern for Kuwait is we depend on oil, about 90% on oil income. The main pillar of the Kuwaiti Vision 2035 is the income diversity. We are in AIU. We try to be aligned with this vision. We have created something called the blue economy, which is a potential section for the income diversity. We have studied this market to enhance the marine and maritime resources to be a potential income diversity or replacement of oil income. So we are a part of the future of this nation. We formed and crafted our team. From our elite students in BAS project, we have designed a UAV called BAS, which is a UAV fully monitored and fully integrated by AI to protect and to serve and to be engaged with the marine and maritime resources in Kuwait, which is forming the Kuwaiti future. Please welcome on stage the future leaders of this nation.
انتوا قاعد تشتغلون مشروع حقيقي، مشروع دولة. طيارة مسيرة لخدمة القطاع البحري.
Assalamu alaikum. معكم the media team leader. I'm Hind Shamari. This is our vice project member. Today we will start with the engineer Ragad Al-Kandari, please.
السلام عليكم. شكرا يعطيكم العافية. طبعا بداية راح أتكلم عن لوجو مشروعنا. اخترنا هذا التصميم مستوحى من طائر الباز اللي غالبا يكون موجود على السواحل الشاطئية، وبالنسبة للون اللون الأزرق لأن طيارتنا راح تكون غالبا صوب البحر. يعطيكم العافية.
معاكم المهندس سعد بالدخيل. احنا مجموعة من الطلبة من الجامعة الأمريكية الدولية مكونين من 20 طالب، وراح تتقسم فرقنا على 3 أفرقة: ديزاين وكودينج وميديا. يعطيكم العافية.
Okay, طبعاً الفرق مقسمة 3 فرق. We have a programming team and also design team. Our project supporting Kuwait Vision in 2035. Please visit our booth so you can see our design. The difference between our drone and the other drone in the market, it's completely with AI, and we use all the material with the supporting with the AIU. So thank you for Dr. Muhammad to support us in this program. This project is funded by KFS with Ministry of Defense, and we will finish, inshallah, our project in April 2026. Thank you.
And as Hind said, this project is aligned with the Kuwaiti Navy and the Ministry of Defense. Also, the Coast Guard is one of our partners. So we are integrating and connecting everyone in Kuwait, the stakeholders, to work with these great students. Thank you.
As we wrap up our today's session, so American International University extend their gratitude and special thanks for our strategic partners, sponsors, attendants, and as well as our panelists for making this forum happen. And thank you for sharing all those information about cybersecurity and AI. So also I would like to remind you there are still workshops going on Building B about cybersecurity, catching the flags, as well as there's another workshops about neuroscience where AI can help detect and diagnose CT scan images. So I invite everyone to attend those workshops, take advantage of them. Thank you again for all of you. Thank you.